AI is changing everything. How we think, how we work, and especially for those of us who are coaching, how we coach. The question is, are we using it intentionally or just trying to keep up? Today, we're diving into the tension and opportunity behind that question with Sara Parrode, AI coach for executives and a board-certified health and wellness coach herself. She's helping leaders and coaches build thoughtful, responsible relationships with this powerful technology. Her work at the intersection of human development and AI makes her the perfect guest to address its role in health, wellness, and performance, both for ourselves and for those of us who are coaching our clients. By the way, she's also a triathlete and is trained in our functional mental toughness model of human performance. So you know I'm looking forward to this conversation. Welcome to the Coaching Lab. I'm Dr. Brad Cooper of Catalyst Coaching, and today I'm thrilled to have Sabrina Little, the Vice President of Coaching Excellence for Catalyst Coaching 360, here to guide our conversation. She is a nationally board-certified health and wellness coach and one of my favorite people in the world. On the coaching front, if you've been considering pursuing certification as a health and wellness coach, registration for our next cohort is available now at catalystcoachinginstitute.com. And if you're already a coach, the coaching event of the year, the Rocky Mountain Coaching Retreat and Symposium, is coming in September. This year, we're offering a special pre-retreat event on the business of coaching that some of you may be interested in. All the details at the catalystcoachinginstitute.com site, or reach out to us anytime with questions. Results at catalystcoachinginstitute.com. And now, let's welcome Sara and Sabrina to the latest episode of the Coaching Lab podcast.
Sara, thank you so much for coming today and talking with us about AI and how it relates to our coaching and our coaching practice and how it can, I don't know, how it can benefit our coaches maybe, but I think I really want to leave this interview today with our coaches feeling more educated and more comfortable about AI. So I'm going to start with really what the initial reaction I seem to get with regards to AI. And a lot of it is fear and uncomfortability, sometimes curiosity, and sometimes resistance. So what do you find with, with your, I don't know, with the people that you're coaching?
And Sara, feel free to expand. We've got a lot of folks listening who may not be coaching yet or aren't planning to coach, but they're more high performers. So maybe they're being coached. So maybe talk out of both sides of, okay, this is how coaches approach it. But when your coach is integrating AI into what they're doing as a coachee or as someone who's considering being coached, what might that look like too? That'd be kind of fun to hear both sides of that.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I think this was the first podcast I started listening to ever.
Nice. I like that. Folks, we did not send her $20 in advance. I promise. That was out of the blue. Thank you, Sara. That's sweet.
No, I think this was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And Sabrina, your classes, that was the other thing that I loved those classes. So
thank you.
Yeah. So thank you. It's actually, I feel very privileged in being here. In terms of what am I seeing? And I'm actually, I can speak from both experiences. I'm a coach, but I'm also a coachee.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing when I'm speaking to people is there are different fears that I hear. The fear of replacement, which I think it's something that I'll talk about a little more. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to talk about actually from that point of view. There's the fear of having something new to learn, right? It's the people have time constraints and they have something new to learn. Is it difficult? Is it not difficult to learn? That type of thing. So there is that side too. It's something new. And then the fear of the cognitive side of like, if I hand so many things to AI, am I going to stop thinking? So those are, that's what I hear the most.
Okay.
I'm finding that when people start using it, and my clients, when I start working, I mean, I work with solopreneurs, but also work in the corporate world. So I find that when people start using it, that it just becomes something that the fear starts to diminish a bit. They get more used to it. They start seeing what it is. They also start seeing its limitations. So it's the other thing. There are moments where people feel awed by what they're seeing, but then there are other moments that they see the limitations. So it's not like it becomes something that they become more familiar with. So I think that makes it easier. From a coachee perspective, and I will go into examples with this. I think I would say it covers at most 20% of what I need from a coach. I wouldn't replace AI. I wouldn't replace my coach with AI. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what I hear you say is that when people start to use AI or engage with it a little bit, some of the fear dissipates because you said they start to realize its limitations.
Yes.
Right. And I feel like in the news, all you see are these fear headlines. AI is going to take everybody's job, or all these jobs.
If it bleeds, it leads, Sabrina.
Well, and what I'm hearing you say, when people actually start to dip their toe in the water with AI and realize its limitations, it's not so scary anymore.
Yeah.
And then you're also even saying you're a coachee and you're thinking, well, I would never just go to totally an AI coach, right? Because that's what some of our coaches are. We are worried that AI is going to take over all our jobs.
Yeah.
Right. So that's hopeful. That's really hopeful. So this is great that you're a coachee, because I think let's just go back a step and say, is AI going to replace coaching? Right? Is AI going to replace my job?
I don't think, right now, as what I know of AI, I don't think that is the case. Not fully. And the way I see this, actually, the other day I was listening to Yoshua Benjo. He's one of the godfathers of AI. And he was asked a question about what professions are probably going to be replaced by AI. Mm-hmm. And he brought up this, the human connection, what makes human connection irreplaceable. And he put it in the way, I listened to so many AI podcasts and videos, and he put it in such a simple way. He said that, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something along the lines of, it's important to know that the person on the other side has the same bodily experiences, and he was talking about therapy and therapists and about nurses at that time. And I think coaches would fall into that category. Mm-hmm. So it's the coaches, they have bodies, they've experienced fear and uncertainty. AI hasn't. And I think we still, and going back to, I have all the different chatbots, LLMs, ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, all the different ones. Mm-hmm. I will talk to my chatbots about emotional stuff too, but it's only going to cover 20%. It's not going to cover more than that. At the end of the day, I still feel that human connection that Yoshua Benjo was talking about was, that the other person on the other side has a heart that beats faster or a gut that hurts, right. That type of thing. And actually, I just last week, I have an example of this. something very sad happened around me that touched me, like that affected me very much as well. Something that's very close to home. And I found myself, and in those situations, I think you end up looking for information to try and control the situation as if you could control the situation. I think that's a human thing to do. And I use this tool called Perplexity, which is very good for research and where I get a lot of my news. And at some point, I was just looking. I was maybe a little obsessive looking for information. And at some point, the Perplexity, the last thing it says is, take care of yourself today, Sara. And is that a good thing for me to hear at that moment? Yes, because I think it made me realize that, that self-talk of, Sara, I think you're obsessing. I think you need to sort of let go a little bit here. And it was a nice thing to have. But where did I get help? When I started talking to my friends, to my family. So, it was good. It did feel like a little part of it, but it wasn't enough. I think that's the type of thing that happens to most of us when it happens in coaching from the coaching perspective and from the coachee's perspective.
Right. I think what I'm hearing you say is you could only go so far with the AI. Like, it told you to go take care of yourself, and your taking care of yourself was to go connect with other people. Go connect with people that feed your heart, right? And that really do feed your soul is kind of what I hear.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah. So was it a good thing? Yes. I mean, it was I think a better experience when I compare it to not having AI. So I think it is, I was glad to have that AI tool available. But was it enough? No.
Sara, is this a shot across the bow for coaches who have focused on information in their coaching versus connection versus the depth? Because I think that's, you just said you went there to Perplexity for information, as we would have in the past to Google, but it's so much easier and so much faster and so much more relatable and it's so more compressed into what we're truly looking for. And we can quickly ask questions back, which Google was amazing at the time. And now this is more amazing. So is this for the coaches listening saying, well, I provide workout plans. I provide nutrition plans. I provide, if your model is built on information, am I hearing you say, then you should be really nervous. If your model is built on connection and transformation, that's a different question.
I think so, because as they say, knowledge is becoming cheaper, not only from availability, but also from, how much we pay for these tools and tokens and everything. I think as technology evolves, it is going to become cheaper and cheaper. I think that's the side of it. I think LLMs, chatbots, they're very good at putting the right combination of words together and the right sequence of messages together to sound empathetic. Right? They're pretty good. But yes, it's still just information, right? So the connection, that part, the relationship that to me, a coach offers not just much more than the information is the intuition, the reading between the lines, the nuances, like the being able to pick up on things, because the LLMs are great listeners. They have you have their undivided attention
and no loss of memory.
You can actually talk to it. It's not even that you have to type. So, and you can choose a voice that works best for you. Not in all of them, but ChatGPT and most of them, I guess. But it's not, and they are getting better. I started using ChatGPT pretty much as soon as it came out. And I've noticed that it's gotten a lot better. And it is becoming more empathetic, but it's still not, it's knowledge. It's not picking up on things that I need a human to pick up on, like even just sometimes we can do coaching without actually being on camera or being in person. But even then, we start picking up on things like on the tone of voice. We pick up on body language when we're even silence. Silence is huge. How do you pick up on silence? And I guess you can, and you can't train an LLM to do it, but it's still not the same thing.
I think what I've noticed with using a chatbot is it doesn't really know where to go. It doesn't have good you mentioned the coach's intuition, and we have that. We kind of know where to go next with the client. And when I'm using AI, it's kind of just always goes the same place.
Yeah.
Right. It kind of takes I don't know, the standard direction, which is just so predictable and so frustrating sometimes. Right.
Yeah.
So that is good.
So Sabrina, I'm hearing you say as a coach, you need to reflect on whether you're following the same pattern over and over. Have you created your own algorithm? And so every session feels like it's always the same.
Okay.
I mean, maybe there's some mirroring that we can do here as coaches of saying, well, wait a minute, Sabrina notices this about the LLM. Whoa, I think maybe I'm kind of doing that as a coach too.
Oh, Brad is going to the Sabrina, you must not be a transactional coach, right? I think that's what I'm hearing. And yeah, this is kind of a challenge to maybe some of you coaches, if you seem to be getting the same kind of responses, or maybe take a look and or do you have just a rote way? Yeah, a rote way, a predictable way.
Yeah.
A predictable way of working with your clients. Because what we're saying here right now is, well, then that predictability can be replicated by AI. But what I'm saying is my coaching
never
cannot.
The same.
Right.
It's a good thing to bring to AI, because I think it is, you can actually bring exactly this to AI and ask it for blind spots, for what am I doing that I could be doing differently, or I think AI is really good for that type of thing. So
okay.
And how would you go about that, Sarah? Would it be getting permission from a client to record one and uploading that? Would it be taking a transcript? Like, what would be some of the practical applications of that advice?
The best would be a transcript. That would be like if you can get that, that is, because that's it. You have the information, you have the data, even more than one. But otherwise, it's you just talking to the model. Sorry, I don't know. I ran before, and
We'd love to hear that. That's good. You get bonus points for that.
Sorry, it was cold, and I think my voice is taking a little bit to come back for some reason.
I'm going to take a little bit of a inquiry here. You said, we're talking about recording, and then we're talking about using AI, and you had mentioned this fear of this is a fear that I think my husband has, is like, stop talking to AI because now it's all out there.
Yeah.
So fear of stuff being out there. Can you speak a little bit about that, Sarah? Like, what is out there when I'm using AI?
Yeah. So most of these, like OpenAI and Claude, they do have, at least in the paid subscription, you can choose if your data is going to be used for training their models or not.
Oh.
So that's the one thing. That's the first thing.
That's in the paid versions of these.
Yes, I think most of them have that. The other thing is, we're still all advised not to put I wouldn't put my social security number in there. I wouldn't put anything that I don't want to possibly get out there, because this is stored somewhere.
Right.
I won't put it out there. Now, it's not like the same thing as you going online and you put someone's name and it all comes up. It doesn't work like that. I don't actually know how to find, if I wanted to look for anything that related to anything that you've done, I wouldn't know I don't know that that's possible to do. So it's just more like to think that whatever you put out there is stored somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
So for example, client information is a big thing.
Right.
That's the type of thing that, and that's why I was saying, like, if you can get more than one recording, like in terms of transcripts, that's great. You can even you can take the client's name and just put it into an LLM and ask it to analyze your sessions. That's fine because there's no name, and that's. But if you put any identifier, they advise you don't put anything that can identify.
Right, that's an identifier. So you actually just pointed out something that's different between AI and a coach, is because if I'm talking on the phone with my client, it's not going into a database. I mean, it's going into Sabrina's brain.
Mm-hmm.
That's a database.
Which is a database. But it is not something that's being
it's not readily available.
Right. And so this is another thing I think that distinguishes between using AI for coaching and using Sabrina or using another coach, is like, what my clients tell me is right here. It's in here. It is not out there into the world. Right. Yeah. So that person that I'm coaching can feel really comfortable about that. Right. That's a pretty big difference.
It is. I think that's, I would put that into more of a generational thing, though. I don't know, like, how, if the younger generations really worry that much about that specific thing. You know, I think they're just, for them, it's so normal that I
have everything out there.
Yeah.
Fair.
That is, that's a good thing to point out. Yeah. So then I do want to circle. I want to talk a little bit about, at some point in this conversation, I want to talk about like how coaches can use AI to support their coaching practice. Mm-hmm. But I'm also like, I was so intrigued by you saying, well, you know, we can record certain things. And I'm like, should we circle back to ethics? Because the whole ethics thing is now is like sitting in my brain.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if I should wait on that topic after you kind of share, how can coaches remain an excellent coach, but possibly incorporate AI into their coaching?
Okay. So I'm leaving the ethics side.
We're going
aside for a little bit. Okay. We'll come. There's a lot. So there's a lot that you can do for productivity type of thing.
Okay.
You know, there's that side. There's the brainstorming side, and I'll give examples. There's the brainstorming side of things too, and there's what I think is the most, probably the most impactful, is the in between sessions type of using AI in between sessions. The benefits of that.
Okay.
In terms of productivity, it can help you with, you know, like, I think most of us are using it to write emails, to manage our calendars. And that depends on, for example, I use Claude Cowork right now for that type of thing. And it's pretty good for setting up these, you know, like for looking at my calendar, for looking at, if I don't actually right now haven't given it access to my email. I have that on Gmail and Gemini. If you have the Gemini Pro, the Google Pro subscription, it's easier to just keep it all in there. It's more secure to keep it all in there, so I just keep it there. But you can have Claude Cowork as well, accessing your emails and telling you, you know, like just helping you organize your emails in terms of productivity, which ones are more urgent, how you should reply to them. So there's a lot of stuff that can be done. Lots of tools for that.
Like admin, like helping, right? You say productivity, helping maybe stay organized and do admin type tasks quicker.
Yes, there's lots. AI is really good for that. You know, like even Microsoft came out with its own small business, which is a lot cheaper now, which does a lot of that, you know, with managing your Outlook, managing your calendar. And that's actually, I work a lot in that because that's what most companies use. So it's amazing what it can do in terms of the productivity side of things. If you want to make it so that you're not If you have
So
a lot
that's
of
like a
emails, yeah. Yeah. If you have like a lot of emails, you need to manage your calendar and everything. There's a lot there.
Okay.
There's brainstorming.
Then you said brainstorming.
Yeah. So say, for example, you start, because the models learn you. And depending on what you give it access to, they can learn you really fast. So one of the things that
What do you mean by that, Sarah, when you say the models can learn you?
yeah, so as you're
Give us an
using,
example.
as your ChatGPT, because I've been using it for I don't know how many years now, it knows exactly what I do. It knows my tone. It knows me. You know, like I think my father once said, "I think ChatGPT knows you better than anyone else at this point."
Okay.
And yet, Sarah, it seems like it confuses the issue. I consistently, because I use it a lot too, and I consistently will ask it some question over here, and it tries to pull it back to a title it helped me create for a Substack article. And I'm like, I'm not talking about that. My question is about XYZ. Why are you pulling in a Substack article I wrote 3 weeks ago on a slightly related concept? It's so interesting that as it's learning you, it thinks it's kind of like a husband who always wants to fix his wife's problems when all she wants to do is be listened to, right? Like the AI is pulling from all this other stuff. I'm like, that's not my question. My question is this over here.
Yeah.
Don't forget the podcast I did. Forget the article I wrote. Forget I don't know. Is that just because of the way I've been using it, or is that a common finding?
That's a limitation, by the way. The fact that it's trying to connect dots that you don't want connected. Yes. I think that's a pretty big limitation. If we're talking about pros and cons or whatever, good, limitations. That's a limitation, I think. Yeah. But yeah, sorry. So Sarah.
No, I agree. And I wonder, Brad, what do you say when that happens? What do you tell ChatGPT when that happens?
I literally am almost like I said with you. I'm like, I'm not talking about an article. I want to know what Nietzsche thinks about the future of humankind or whatever. Like I'm asking a philosophical question and it's pulling back to this, or I'm asking about a business concept. Sabrina and Lee and I are working on some strategic thinking right now. And I was doing some things with it in that area over the weekend. And I'm like, what? Why are you pulling from here with a business strategy question?
Because you can create memories.
Yes.
You can say like
specific chats.
Yes, you can. No, but you can say, like, if there's a behavior that you don't like or that you want, you can say, "Remember this," and hopefully it will start.
So you're saying when that happens, I would say, remember that when I ask you these questions, I'm not wanting you to draw on that. Is that what you mean by remember this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. When I ask this type of questions, yes.
Got it.
Or you can also go to the instructions and give it more like quite specific instructions. But I think it's easier to just when that happens to give it a new memory.
Okay. So not a new chat. You literally are correcting it on the spot.
Yes, and you have to say, remember this.
Interesting.
Because sometimes otherwise you need to go through more iterations before it starts remembering.
Okay.
So when you want the chatbot to remember something and you say, remember this, you should be able to go into the, where you have all the memories. And because we used to have to, in the beginning, we used to have to keep on cleaning memories. Now I haven't had to do any of that. You should be able to find that memory there.
Okay.
So test
And that's similar across multiple platforms. That command, remember this.
Yes, then it's for all of ChatGPT.
But also Perplexity and also Claude and also
Yeah. I think all of them should have it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No,
you helped Brad reduce some of his frustration with ChatGPT. Okay, let's go back to brainstorming. I'm still back in these 3 buckets of how coaches can use AI.
Yeah. But even that, let me very quickly say something. It's artificial intelligence. I think it's also the same way we get frustrated with people sometimes. I think it's, even the way it hallucinates, we make mistakes too. So it's I think that's the other side that, it's good to remember sometimes that, brainstorming. So I have, I think it's good to brainstorm just even having a conversational type of chatting or even talking to it. Say, for example, you want to create a new workshop and you're thinking about different topics. That's the type of thing you can do using one of these LLMs, is to just, to brainstorm. And you can actually ask for it to go out onto the web and look at, what's out there in comparison to what you're thinking of. So there's a lot there. And even just then.
So again, because all of a sudden it has the ability to pull from a lot of different places and give you information right away, right? Like with the brainstorming.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And actually, if you want to go into something that requires more analysis, most of these platforms have what is called the deep research, which is, so you can actually do, ask it to research. It takes about, it's a proper type of research paper that it comes up with.
Okay.
It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to do. So you can use it that way to, in your brainstorming process, you can ask it to go and research that specific topic and and it brings the sources as well, because that's the other important thing. It brings, when you do deep research, it brings sources, so you can always.
So it's a great puller of information.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes back to the whole thing of knowledge, like the knowledge becoming more accessible, cheaper. And, so there is that side of just having a brainstorming session with an AI.
Okay.
You can also automate things like that, even for brainstorming. I have currently in Claude. So every day I spend some hours on YouTube learning about the different AI tools that I train people on, right? There's so many, and AI changes every single day. There's so much all the time.
Gotcha.
So it's something that you really have to keep up with.
Right. Because you are coaching people on AI use. And so it is a great way for you to stay on top of it. You're using AI to stay on top of AI.
It is. I have to learn the tools I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And I've had presentations that or like that's ready, like everything, or the steps, the demo that is ready. Mm-hmm. And then just to realize that all these new things came in and I need to learn that very quickly. So what I do now is I set up something on Claude Cowork that every day will, I put together like an initial database, and every day it goes and it compares what is there to what I've watched that day, and then summarizes it and then sends me an email telling me, or for now it's just actually there. I didn't want it to connect it to my email, but yes, it's there so that I can know exactly what the learnings were for that day. So that helps me. And then I use that to create a presentation in Gamma, which is another really good AI tool for putting presentations together. So, but all from Claude, because I've set it up in that way. It creates a presentation I will use using my theme, my template, and everything. So it's very good for these types of things. This is just, this workflow is something that is AI can it's the typical thing AI can help with.
Okay. So for a coach, I'm like imagining, so there's all these coaches out there, and what you're saying, if you use AI, you can really increase your knowledge around a certain topic really quickly. You can also kind of focus, maybe become an expert on some kind of topic and have AI look for the latest and greatest information on a topic, right? And so like if you're a coach and you're trying to maybe have a specialty, this is a great way to stay on top of your specialty and then maybe even go out and present on your specialty.
Yes, because it synthesizes the information. It beautifies the information too. So it can put all of it, so that workflow all of a sudden has become something that used to take a really long time. It's become something that not only did you get, it helps you with maybe there's things that you've missed. It brings new ideas when you're brainstorming, but then it puts them together and puts them in a way that you can present it. there's also when it comes to learning, there's a really, really good tool, Notebook LM. I recommend people look at that. It's a Google tool, and you can create your own podcast on the subject that you're learning. So
no, you shared that with me in one of our other conversations.
Yeah, because I
think
using it's amazing. Have you used it,
Sarah? Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
It's
So
amazing,
everybody listening, this is what we're kind of hoping. Some of these nuggets that Sarah is sharing with you, she is to maybe go take a look at that, and it can expand what you are currently doing. It can speed things up for all you coaches, and maybe not even coaches out there, like Brad said, just the listeners. Okay.
And just clarify, Sarah, what you would do with that is you would say, go find this information, summarize it for me into a 15-minute podcast so I can listen to it on the way to work, or something like that. Is that the bottom line message of the Notebook LM tool?
Yeah. Yeah. So you write a prompt, it brings all the sources, you choose the sources that you want, and that could be YouTube videos. It synthesizes all that information. One of the options is a podcast. It also it creates a presentation, it creates a video, it creates different things. I've seen some of the videos I watch on YouTube. I can tell they've used Notebook.
Oh, you can tell. See,
to get the presentation, which is fair, right? It's like, I think that's okay. They're still teaching and still, but you can see that they've used it as well to learn, and why not? It's like it is
right. It exists.
Yeah. It creates mind maps. So it has for visual, all sorts of, I think as of right now, it's the most complete and powerful learning tool that we have available.
That's coming from Sarah. That means something.
No, I mean, I like playing with these things and trying all these different things. That's why I'm doing this. But
And you said it's a Google tool. So is it in Gemini? Is it a separate element of Gemini?
It's in Gemini. I think Notebook LM, I don't know that. I think it's free. I know it's free for sure for students. And I'm pretty sure if it's associated to your personal account, I think it's free. I'm not sure. Google tends to be on the more reasonable side when it comes to that. So, yeah.
Okay. We can maybe come back. I want to kind of go to what you were saying, though. I'm really curious about how can a coach use AI for what's happening in between sessions with a client?
Good.
Yeah. So I know that there are tools out there, because I think you can use ChatGPT. Or the coach can create their own tools, and I'm going to go back to that. I know that there are some tools made for coaches out there. I do not have any experience with them, so I'm not going to speak to them, but they do exist. So I just want to say that.
Okay.
But what works as well is you can narrow the knowledge for example, in a chat GPT by creating something called custom GPTs that look almost like a chatbot, or you can create your own chatbot and feed it the information that you want, so that your client, for example, your coachee, is only having access to that particular information as opposed to the whole information out there. And so one way that can work in between sessions is, I'll use the example of nutrition. If you want to, for example, at some point I created a custom GPT where, because I also have running clients, not very many anymore. I also do personal training, and I have running clients.
Okay.
And where they would be able to to put their workout in there, and this chatbot would give meal suggestions for the whole day, and then it would give a list of things that they may need to buy when they go to the supermarket. So that's one way. That's a very specific way.
Okay.
Another way is just so that they can, and again, I think you always need to put some guardrails. That's the thing. It's and that's why some of these tools made for coaching might actually work better than just telling your client to use ChatGPT. But in the conversing with that chatbot or with that tool, more things come up that then can be brought into the session. So instead of leaving it from like your client sees you
kind of reminding your client of like the things that they supposed to be working on, like kind of. That's what I was thinking. Like, hey, talk to your chat bot so you don't just talk to me and then forget what you're supposed to be working on.
But I would say something created by you. Like a tool created.
Oh, okay. So the coach as the coach could create something.
Yes, that's
okay.
what because you do need some guardrails there.
Okay.
And so in between sessions, they can be working, like you see a client 1 week and you don't see them until 2 weeks later. Mm-hmm. They can be, they can be conversing with this chatbot so that when they come to the session with you, maybe, not necessarily, but maybe they have advanced in new ways or advanced more than without, that's just, that's just one of the ways that I think can help in between sessions.
So what I'm hearing you say, it would be additional accountability. Like it can help with the client's accountability, right? Yeah. And it would support, might help speed up their progress. Because they're creating new things that they want. They're figuring out new things that they want to talk with you about, the coach. Like, oh, this triggered this, Coach Sabrina. I want to focus on that when we meet next, right?
You could even be a chatbot version of Sabrina that they're talking to.
Like what?
So, Sara, you're saying you literally set this up from your end and then give them some sort of a link, almost like you'd send them a link to your website or whatever, and then you're able to see what they're putting into that?
Well, yes, some chatbots, yes, you can, and that might be, but not if it's a custom GPT. If it's a custom GPT, then it's private to them.
Okay.
You can. I think you can.
But you created it for them to use. Is that right? When you say custom.
Yeah. Yes, I created it for my clients to use. But there are several, I think, different companies, I think, or AI tools that you can create a Sabrina version of a chatbot that it's as if they were talking to you. And
then Sabrina's selecting resources that she would want them to have access to so that it's not going out and just grabbing all the headlines and the ridiculous stuff. And it's kind of like the guardrails you talked about. By going to the Sabrina chatbot, they're not sharing information with anybody, including Sabrina, but she has set up those guardrails so that they're staying within those guardrails in their responses they're receiving. Is that accurate?
That is. So most
interesting.
Chatbots, so in chatbots, not custom GPTs, you typically have, because they're also used for shopping, you can see what people wrote in there. But you do you feed it the information, and you have the option of having that it's only the information you feed it, or you can do a combination of like if it's use all my knowledge, but and if it's needed, go out onto the web and get more on this specific. You program it whichever way you want to do it, and there are lots of different lots of different options with agents and everything. But the easiest one, I think, the one to start with if you don't want to invest in other things, are custom GPTs, and which are just narrowing the knowledge. And you can make a custom GPT only look at the knowledge you give it. You do not see, as far as I can tell, because I haven't created one for a while, but I don't think you can see what the person is writing, which I think sometimes gives more freedom to the client, right? If they know that no one's seeing it.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. And so tell me in your words what you have seen as the benefits when a client uses that.
they're working on it within, like they work on it throughout, because coaching sessions, depending on what people can afford, what people's schedules and everything.
Sure.
It can be 2 weeks, can be a lot, right? In between instance. So it just keeps the momentum sort of thing, just
Okay. So it supports their behavior change.
Yes, it supports their behavior change. Yeah. And they bring something new to the.
True. Right. And they bring something new. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this was a lot. Those are a lot. Brad, did you have any questions?
I've got an eventual question, and maybe you want to hold off on it, Sarah, but we've got so many different options. So we've talked about Claude and Perplexity and ChatGPT and Gemini and offshoots of Gemini like Notebook LM. At what point do you suggest someone moves from the free ones to, let's go ahead and do one paid one a month? What would that one be? Or does it depend on what your goals are? Or does it depend on which one you've gotten most used to? Or would you say, no, these two combined, if you go with the paid, like where would you start? If someone is saying, I'm using it more and I'm ready to, I hate paid subscriptions, frankly, but I'm ready for the basic one, where would someone start and why that one?
I don't have that, I'd have to look at what the person is doing and what they want to do. For example, if a lot of us use Gmail and have have everything in Google,
sure, that
might be a really good option in terms of because it's all there, right? You can set it up in a way that it's talking to your calendar, talking to your Gmail, and it feels secure because it's all within Google, within the Gemini workspace. So it's, like Microsoft calls it Work IQ. It's a sort of work intelligence. So that, especially if what you're producing is in Google Docs, in Google Sheets, maybe that is the best tool for you. I think Gemini, and also, they each have their own strengths. But in the end, I don't know that one is so much better than the other in terms of chatting.
Is there a value in going with the paid one at this point? Or do we just continue to move between the four and use this one more for research and this one more for brainstorming and this one more for image creation and this one more? And so we never cross over the need for the paid one at this point in the development of these LLMs? I mean, you're in them all the time, but most of us probably aren't spending more than an hour or two a day utilizing them.
The free version of these tools can be limiting, right? I think you don't.
How, Sarah? How are the free versions limiting?
In terms of they have started offering more now than they did in the beginning, but in terms of memory, in terms of I'm pretty sure, for example, with Gemini, you cannot have the free version and it can connect to your Gmail and all these other things.
Okay.
What I would say is never commit to anything for a year. Always do a subscription that's monthly. They will offer like a $3 discount.
So test it out. Oh, this is the coaching mindset. Test it out first is what Sarah's saying.
Yes. Don't go and get the only thing I've gotten like a yearly subscription for is Gamma. And that's the one that creates presentations. And I don't regret that. I've been using it. I used it for a year and I'm using it again. I think it's still the best one for that. But for the other ones, I always do monthly. I never do yearly because what if I want to change to another one? I would say try the free version of the ones you want to try first. Then whichever one you choose, and So I'll talk a little bit about the other ones. So you have Gemini has all these different things. Gemini, its strength is, they say, deep research. And so the research capability when you want to really go what they call a PhD level type of research, and the nano banana for images. So it's very good for creating images. ChatGPT is known as the most versatile. Now, if you want to connect either ChatGPT or Claude to your email, you need to set it up with connectors, which is easy to do, but you're no longer just within the
universe. Yeah.
Yeah. But you may not need that. Maybe you don't want to connect it to your email. Maybe not everyone needs to do that, I think, or to the calendar. So ChatGPT is known for being the most versatile, I think.
Okay.
I really like Claude. Claude is super direct. It's not.
You like the style?
It's not a
Is that what
pleaser,
you're saying?
like in as much, it's like,
Okay.
I like the style. I like Claude Cowork a lot. I think it's the closest thing to agentic we have now available to us. You can set up, as long as your computer is open, you can set up tasks that can do a lot for you. I gave the example of the one of synthesizing what I watch on YouTube and then creating a presentation, but there's so many different things that you can do. It does the beginning to end, right? You give it a task and it does the whole thing. Perplexity now has something called Computer, which it works like Claude Cowork, and you don't need to have your computer on. It can work in the background. It can work in the cloud, because Claude Cowork is on your desktop. So it's just on your desktop. Okay. I haven't tried it. It's supposed to be really good. And I actually really like Perplexity too. I think from the beginning, it was the one that, and Perplexity is not an LLM like the other ones. It has several models in there, but from the beginning, it was made for research. It was made even when the other ones were hallucinating. Perplexity was giving you the sources. And Perplexity also has something called Comet, which is an AI browser, which is amazing as well.
Sarah, can you for a second explain what hallucinating is? You've said it a couple times.
Sorry. Yeah. Hallucinating is when these models, like ChatGPT, and bring back information that is not correct, that it's making up. It's making up information.
And it's quite humorous.
So this happens. So this is what I want
happens all the time.
to understand.
Yes.
Right. Well, I want people to understand that hallucinations can happen. And so for some of you who are testing out using AI, I want to kind of give you the beware. The answer you get quite possibly might not be true.
Well, and sometimes it's basic stuff. I asked it based on an equation with history built in and some compounding levels, and it came back, and I was literally like, I think you did your math wrong. I literally typed that in, and it said, oh, you're right. I left out so yes, for sure, double check.
Yes.
I just want people to be aware of that. Like, I think this is where we are right now in the conversation. This is so helpful. Like, it's a tool, right? And there's so many types of tools, Sarah, you're telling us, and we can test it out and experiment with it. But I want everybody to realize that it is not infallible.
It's not. Yeah.
Right.
No, actually, I would say AI is still very buggy.
Okay. So buggy. Right. And so, like, for those of us who have worked with computers for a long time, we're like, we know it's buggy. So that is it's just a limitation that I think people have to realize. And you had said at the very beginning, when you first started talking, people worry, am I going to not use my brain if I use too much AI? And I'm like, well, please do not only rely on AI, because it is buggy. So just be aware.
It is buggy. I don't know if it's ever not going to be buggy. I think it's going to get better. But if you want something that you want to rely on the information, you need to do a deep research, for example, in one of these models, because it brings back the sources. Or you need to use something like Perplexity, which brings back the sources that you can click and validate. So if you're just talking to it, if you know about the subject, it's easier to pick up. And each time you do, correct it. I think that's the other thing. Correct it. They know you're wrong. That's not how it
You're
is.
telling us not to just accept everything and then to challenge it. One thing that I want to do, because now I'm wondering, we've been kind of going deep into the AI talk, and I don't know if some of the coaches out there or some people listening are like, oh my gosh, what the heck are you all talking about now? Because I did want people to feel more comfortable with the whole idea of AI, or like, how can I get more comfortable? Here's Sabrina and Brad and Sarah all talking about AI. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling overwhelmed, right? Which, we've coached people who feel overwhelmed. How can someone reduce the feeling of overwhelm around AI and getting comfortable? Like, what can they do?
I think coaches have the right mindset for this, because this is what when we talk to our clients, this is what we talk about, habits. And we ask people to start small, or anyone who's training for races. You start small and you have a goal, and you start by running, I don't know, like say, for example, 30 minutes, and then you start increasing. I think using AI is the same sort of thing. You start, just choose any tool that you want. There's no wrong tool, no like perfect tool, as we just talked about. Okay. Choose any tool that you want to try and start using it. Start with the simpler stuff, like helping to rewrite or to write content for your social media, or just brainstorming ideas for social media. And then start being curious. So that's the other thing that I think we have the right mindset. Coaches tend to be curious, and they love to learn for the most part. So be curious. Never ask, even if it seems like it's a crazy thing that you're going to ask AI, ask it and see what it brings back. You're saying be wild? Yes. Yeah. I think the possibilities are just, I think we sometimes think, because our first experience with computers was actually, we had to learn how to talk to a computer, right? It's still like, it was the right way to learn. It was a whole language of learning how to talk to a computer. And I'm not even talking about learning how to programming, like,
right. Just use it.
We're just using the computer commands and everything. Now we're being told, just talk to the computer, literally. Just open up you can do it through your phone. Like, you can even use the camera on your ChatGPT and show your refrigerator and say, please help me choose what I can make for dinner, or whatever. Yeah.
Wait, you can do that with ChatGPT?
Yeah, you can do that with ChatGPT. And so, the other day I do send my bike to a mechanic, but I had to fix something on my bike. And I just showed it and asked, how do I fix this type of thing? So but going back to the habits part of it, just start small. Start with where you feel comfortable and start building on top of that. And you can't break it, so ask whatever you want.
I love that. You can't break it.
Well, and I have loved I read like Kierkegaard and Tillich and Nietzsche and some of that stuff in the last couple of years. And most of the time it's over my head. I'm just sitting there going, I want to understand this, but I don't have any idea what they're really talking about. So I just started literally taking a paragraph where I thought, I know there's something interesting in there, but it's over my head. And then I would just say that. What did Kierkegaard mean by this statement? It is fascinating. It's like, it brings it to life, Sarah. It's like, it becomes meaningful. And then the more you're doing that, then this reminds you of that. And you can say, is what Kierkegaard says in this related at all to what Tillich was talking about here, or Nietzsche in this section? And it instantly pulls that all together. And it's not perfect, like you said, but it has been so fascinating for me to finally understand these writings that I wanted to understand, but I didn't, or I pretended to, but now they make sense and they're connected. And it's, it's been amazing.
That's excellent. So
It
you actually used AI for something that you really had interest in, and you had gotten, you just didn't know where to go, right? Like you were
It's
interested
over my
in
head.
learning
And it was written in the
more.
1400s or the 1600s, and it was a different world. And then you can bring that back to today, or you can even bring it back to what does this have to do with what I'm struggling as a business owner or a father in 2026, or and it's not right, but it helps you when we come with what Sarah talked about, that curious mindset. It just gives you another feedback loop where you're like, wow, this stuff that was written in the 1400s, the 1600s, it makes sense in 2026 when it's contextualized.
You're basically saying humans are still humans.
How about that?
Yeah. And it does, and it gives you, like, it always ends with something, with a suggestion of, do you want to know this? And then it's easy to keep on going.
Yeah.
One of the first, actually the first custom GPT I built when I started using ChatGPT was a custom GPT where I had, philosophers, just famous people talking to each other.
Yes.
Because I thought, what would it look like if you could have people from different periods and different philosophies? What would it sound like if they talked to each other?
Yeah.
So it's that type of thing. And then it's like, it's possible, right? It's the curiosity, and it's possible to do that. How else would you do that? You have all the data, and it puts these minds speaking to each other.
Totally.
So it's, I love it for that. I have to say that my friends don't have patience to listen to my ideas and philosophy that I can just keep on going about these different things. So ChatGPT is a great outlet for that type of thing. So use it for whatever you feel like. Yeah.
That's a great place to start, right? That's a great place to start for those of you who don't know where to start. What are you curious about? Mm-hmm. And then remember that it's just do a little bit, and then keep following the little rabbit trail that you're curious about.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And go from there.
Yeah.
How do we make sure that if we're using it as coaches, that we are using it ethically? Staying within our, I don't know, just making sure that we're staying,
I would say transparency is the main thing there.
Oh, okay.
There are tools out there, for example, Granola is one of them that you can transcribe. You can have, it's what I use for my YouTube videos, for example. That's where I get the transcript. But the person on the other side doesn't know I'm using it if I'm on a call. So always get consent. I think that's a given, but always get consent. That's one of the things, because the tools do exist. Doesn't mean that it's okay to just use them.
Right.
The other thing is if you are creating content, and I see this all the time, if you are creating content using AI, be open about it. And I think that's becoming more acceptable. I think people expect people to use AI to create content. The other thing is privacy. If you're not going to put your own private information in any of these tools, don't put your client's information either. That's the type of thing. I think that is what things that are both ICF and, the Board of Health and Wellness, the National Board of Health and Wellness, are very big about these things. So I think we have it in our minds already when we're thinking about what makes sense to put or not put out there.
It really does help, though, Sarah, you kind of just saying it out loud, because even within the updated NBHWC competencies, I feel like they're being created, but like more AI is being created, like you said, every day. Yes, and so just having you speak it, be transparent, get consent, be open about what you're using it for.
Yeah. You can even put it into your contract. Right. You can even say that I may use AI for, I don't know, but that is an option there. yeah, I think transparency is the most important thing here, so that because I think it's going to become something that we use, that everyone's going to use at some point. So yeah.
So I've got two quick questions, and you've addressed this, but I thought it'd be a good summary aspect. And then Sabrina, I don't want to step in. You may have some other things you want to cover, but for the brand new user, what would be first 3 steps? For the experienced user, what would be 3, and doesn't have to be 3, but what would be a couple kind of aha, I bet you haven't tried this kind of things? So
Okay.
super basic starting point and haha points.
Okay. So for the beginning,
Right out of the gate.
brand new user, just open up one. I would say ChatGPT. That's the one that is easy, and ask it coaching questions. I would just say ask a few questions. Ask it to help you prepare for a coaching session. I think that's just have a conversation. Don't worry about prompting. Just have a conversation. Like, you can just type. Don't think about whether or not you're prompting the right way, the wrong way. There's no such thing. Just have a conversation. I think that's the first one. Did you want 3 for each, or
your choice? I just wanted to cover those 2 in terms of a summary, because you've answered this question already as we've gone, but I thought it'd be nice to have kind of
to summarize.
Boom, 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 and boom, boom, boom.
Uh-oh.
Go, and if you want ideas for content for social media and for a newsletter, that's another easy way.
Okay.
Just ask it, but you have to tell, if you're just using it for the first time, you need to tell that ChatGPT or what you do, what your audience is like. You need to give information. So remember, with LLMs, context is very important. You're going to get the best out of it if you give it the more context you give it. So I would say those 2. Then a third one would be if there's a tool or 2 tools that, for the more, if you've been using ChatGPT or any of the other LLMs already, you're creating content, Notebook LM, try that. Go and try it. Choose a topic, any topic that you want to learn, and just try Notebook LM and try Gamma. If you have to create presentations, it's GAMMA .app, I think, and they do have a free version, so you can first try it and try it, because that's like, if you have to create any type of presentations, that is very helpful.
And you said GAMMA, 2 M's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. .app. Yeah. So I would say those 4. I gave 4, I think.
Perfect.
And just an idea that I'm putting out there, because I remember when I was training I did ICF and then the national board. So I had to train actual, when you're training for the coaching sessions that are going to be recorded, I did it by writing it. Like, I pretended I was the coach and the coachee, like writing a whole bunch of sessions that I created, mock sessions. Use one of these LLMs to do it. Just give it and say, I'm the coach, you're the coachee, and I'm training for this specific exam. It will know exactly what you need to learn, and it will help you train for the exam.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. You told me that. That was kind of mind-blowing for me.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a good prepping tool.
So we didn't even talk about that. Yeah, that's right. Use it as a prepping tool.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, we talked about so much, and I feel like we did a pretty good job keeping it kind of focused within a bubble, because there are so many things that can be talked about with regards to using AI, and we tried to keep it around just coaching use or where to start. Sara, if you could give coaches or even people a mindset shift about AI, what what would it be?
I would stick to curiosity. Be curious about it and just try it, and don't worry about doing anything wrong, because you're not. Just try it.
Keep your coaching hat on. Be
Keep
curious.
Your coaching hat. Yeah.
Yeah. Be curious.
Yeah.
Don't worry about being perfect. Just learn.
Learn. AI is learning. AI is far from being perfect. So yeah. So it's fine. It's like, use it as a collaborator.
Okay. Was there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to make sure you say?
No,
with regards to the things we talked about?
I think we covered a lot. I mean, one of the questions I get a lot is, where do I see coaching going, AI going? I don't know. I don't know that anyone knows. I think it's all generational. I can only speak to what I see right now, the humans stepping on this planet right now. We expect a certain type of thing. Who knows in 100 years what people are going to be, what we're going to have available. And I don't think that's something people should worry that much about in terms of even in the near future. I think it's something that I understand that there are concerns, and everyone is concerned about something related to AI, and I understand because I am too. But for now, the human connection is still very important. At least for now, the human connection is still very important. I don't see it going away that quickly either.
Yes, absolutely. And I mentioned that Sabrina and Lee and I are doing, and Susanna are doing some strategic planning right now, and we've been looking at this because that coaching is what we do. It's our world. It's the way we're trying to help make the world better. And I am convinced that it's not just will survive. I think it's the antidote for this technology-driven isolation that we're experiencing, and that is getting worse. It's not getting better, folks. You coaches, listen to me. You are the antidote. You are the antidote. Like, go to bed at night thinking of that. And then how can we have a bigger impact by getting that antidote out there in the world in bigger, more unique, more impactful ways? And if you're an employer, if you're a supervisor, get your people involved with this, because AI is amazing. It's awesome. It's incredible. It is making everything better when we use it the right way. And it's not coaching because it's not the connect. You cannot be truly seen. It's great information. It's great transaction. We're talking about something different. So I just want to encourage folks, you are the antidote to this this amazing technology-driven isolation. That's us. Let's get this thing going.
I 100% agree. And I agree that it's also, coaches are very good with help with navigating change and uncertainty. Yes. So, and we do get tired of all the technology out there every so often. I think it is the more AI I use, the more I realize that there is something we offer, that there are limitations in AI that I still need to go to a coach for. Yep. So I think the more you use it, the more you understand. I think going back to where we started, you understand its limitations. So, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
So we can actually encourage people to use it. It's great. It's a great tool. And you kept saying 80% people, 20%, something like that, yes. Right, Sarah? 20% yes. AI. Right. The more you use it, the more we realize how important we are, coaches.
And even those tools that exist that make coaching available to people who might not be able to get coaching otherwise, they at least now know what coaching is. And maybe they can't, sometimes they may not be able to afford a one-on-one coach, but maybe they'll look for group coaching. Maybe, so even that is actually something that might highlight how important coaching is. So, yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you. Appreciate you doing this. Sabrina, thank you for making this possible and for prepping all this. Great job, you two. This is fantastic.
Thank you.
So important.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed being here and actually meeting you. But thank you.
Great job, Sabrina. And Sara, thank you so much. Such critical insights at this point in what we're going through and what we have available to us in the world. If you have any questions for us on the coaching front, feel free to reach out anytime. results@catalystcoachinginstitute.com. If you want to check out that retreat I mentioned earlier, that's under the retreat tab on the website. There is a discount right now for the business event that we're launching this year. Just making that available as an easy add-on if that's something you're interested in. And if you're interested in the next cohort, the next training for those of you who are thinking about getting certified as a coach, all those details are also available at catalystcoachinginstitute.com. Please use this as a resource. Reach out anytime. Happy to chat through career thoughts, where it's going, how this all fits, all those kinds of things. We're here to be a resource for you. Thank you for joining us here on the Coaching Lab podcast. And now it's time to be a catalyst. Make it a great rest of your week, and I'll speak with you soon on another episode of the Coaching Lab podcast, or maybe on the YouTube coaching channel.